Hi guys, once again welcome to the another amazing course. So today in this course I'm going to build a downloader application where you will download the files using Laravel and Vuejs. So before downloading the stuff we need the uploads, right? So first we will upload the stuff and then we will download the stuff. Also make sure that we are going to implement the login logout functionality to first log in our user, and then they will be able to upload the files and then download those files, and their downloads will be also tracked how many downloads are completed. So before this, who I am, my name is Dayatnazi and I'm full stack software developer, and in this application I'm going to teach you with the step-by-step guide how you can build the Laravel and Vuejs application. So just click on this register button. Okay, and here I'm going to now register myself here, right? So I'm going to type here diet Niazi, and then this would be my email. Okay, and after that I want to type a password. So let's say I want to type the password, but here I have entered the incorrect password. So just click on this, and yes, your password doesn't match with the confirmed password. So it means that validations are properly working. Perfect. So just click on this register, and yes, user registered successfully. So we are registered now, and I'm going to log in this user. So just click on this login button, and here I'm going to enter my email Hadi Niazi, and then the password would be 12345678. Just click on this login and it will redirect us on the dashboard without the page refresh, right? This is the beauty of Vue.js. And also the authenticated user option will be available here too and here too. Just click on this login. Perfect, we are successfully able to log in and we are redirected on the dashboard where I'm seeing my name, and then here are options of upload files, download files, right? Perfect. Let's click on this upload file. Here I'm going to upload my file. So just click on this file user and then choose this 26, right? And here I'm going to submit this out. Just click on this submit, and yes, it says file uploaded successfully. So it's mean our file is uploaded, right? I'm going to now visit this download file. Visit here, and yes, we have one downloads where we have 0 downloads right now, right? Now I'm going to click on this download button, and then I want to download this file. So just click on this download, and yes, it's downloaded this file, and make this 1.2. Just open this file, and yes, it's now opened this Fiverr 26 and made this download 1. If I click on this twice time, and yes, it's updating the count of downloads, right? So in this way we can handle the download functionality in the Laravel and Vuejs. So we are going to build this awesome application, right? So we are also validating everything. If I choose a wrong file, I'm updating everything. So just click on this, and yes, file must be type of JPG or PNG, right? So this is the way how we are going to build the overall this application. So I'm going to also implement this logout functionality, and our application will work like this. So now let's move further to the course. Okay, so in this application I'm going to create the register functionality, login functionality, and a logout functionality. And after this we will move further to the file stuff, that how users can upload the files, how user can download the files and view those files. So I don't want to take too much time to build this login stuff, so I came with the new solution where you can get the login, register and logout functionality from my repository. Just click on this repository and visit github.com/hadiniazi, and I'll also link this in the description. So here this one is a GitHub repository, Laravel Vue.js basic authentication app. So you need to install this. So this contain the register, login and logout functionality. So I don't want to spend too much time to build this, and if you want to know how to build this functionality, so I have covered this in complete series, right, with the step-by-step guide how you can build the register, login and logout functionality using Vue.js and Laravel, right? And I'm going to pull this repository for my upload for my downloader application. So just click on this clipboard and here uh, open any of the directory, right, where you want to create your application. So I want to create this in the www. So here just name this downloader app, something like this. Paste this here. Just open a new terminal, right? I'm going to open the git bash. You can use any of the one, like you can use Windows CMD, right? So here I'm going to pull my GitHub code. First create empty GitHub repository for me. So it will create the empty repository, right? Enter this and yes, it's created this. And now I want to pull the code. So just type git pull, right, and specify the origin which you copied earlier, right, from the GitHub. Hit enter. So it will pull all the code from this GitHub repository, right? And then we will need to set up this, and yes, it's completed, right? So I want to move this into this folder, cd Okay, now I need to install the composer, right? So just install, oops, let me clear this out. Now we need the composer, so install the composer. Composer installed successfully, and now I'm going to copy my .env example to create a env file. So just type cp.env.example.env, and yes, it's copied this one. And I'm going to now generate my key, so php artisan key, yeah. So now this one is generated the key, and I want to open this into my VS Code. Now this application is completed, so just open this through code, and yes, it's open it here. And here I'm going to set up the database connection. So I'm going to say downloader app. Okay, so just now go to your database. I'm using MySQL, so create your new database here. So similar, downloader, click on this create, and yes, our database is created successfully. So I want to open my application here, right? So I need to start my Laravel. Okay, it's created subdomain for me, and now I can access this like downloader app dot test, right, on this domain. And yes, the error is correct. Wait manifest is not found. Why? Because we need to compile our files. So just run npm run dev, so it will compile them on the runtime. Wait is not recognized, so we need to also install the npm stuff. So just go here and run this npm install, and yes, npm is now installed successfully. And just now run this npm run dev again. So now it's compiling this on the runtime, and if I go here and get refresh, and yes, our application is running successfully, right? and if I want to log in myself, so I need to create the database, right? So before this, if you go here into the database migration seeder, and I want to seed one user, right? Or I will register myself, right? So let's close this one. So here I'm going to now create my database table. Just run php artisan migrate, and yes, table are migrated. And now if I go here and visit this out, and yes, our tables are there. So I want to register myself. Just go here, type my name, Gayat Niazi, my email gmail.com, and then password, right? And I'm going to pass a password. Click on this register, and yes, user registered successfully. Let's click on this login and log in ourselves. So here I'm going to say, hey, Adi Niazi, and then password would be same. So yes, I want to add this. Just click on this login, and perfect. We are successfully able to log in, and it's displaying my name and then login and logout functionality, right? So now we got the login functionality. If I go ahead and click on this logout and visit this Adi Niazi one more time, and boom, we are successfully able to log in, right? So this is the way where our game start now. So here we will create another view where I will upload my files. So first, let's go here into your application, click on this resources JS, and I'm going to open the router to create a route for my page. So here I'm going to copy this, right? This one is the same, but let me type this for you. So we'll type this first time. So first we need the path, right? What we will enter this in the URL, and our uploading section will be opened, right? So here we can say that uploads, right? And then we need to specify its name, right? As we are calling the names in the Laravel, we are assigning the name to routes. It's very similar to the Laravel. So I'm going to say uploads to, and then we need the component, which component we want to render here, right? Whenever we will hit this URL. So I want to render what? So here just import this from the top. So let's say import, and then here I'm going to import my component. But before this we need to create a component. So just go here, click on this components directory, and here I'm going to say files, right? And in the files I'm going to create a upload dot view, and then here we can say download dot view, and then we can say show dot view, where we will show our. And so first we need the upload, right? So just say uploading, right? Save this one and close those components here, and I'm going to say uploads from where I want to say components slash files slash upload dot view, right? And here I want to call my this component uploads, right? And after this we need the authentication stuff. We want to protect this route, that this one is only available for authorized user, right? For authenticated user. So here I'm going to pass meta and require authentication, right? And then I'm passing this true to telling that this one is required. And now if I go here and visit this uploads here, uploads, oops, I need to add a button here to navigate to this upload, right? Or I need to add this here, right? So let me go to my app.view file where I'm calling this home, right? So similarly, I'm going to copy this one more time here, and let's add a space at the top to make this more readable. Let's say uploads, or we can say files, and here we can navigate to the uploads, right? Save this one, and yes, files is there, so just click on this, so it says uploading, right? So we are able to open our component. Now let's design this component as similar. We have the dashboard, right? We need the basic stuff. Just close this one, and here I'm going to go to this dashboard and copy this template from here, right? It's pretty much identical. Okay, just replace it here. Also we need this in the show, so just paste this out. Also need the downloads, paste this out, right? So I'll explain it in a minute. So basically we are using a container, and then this container row where we define the 12 column, but I'm making this 8 to make this offset 2. So I'm skipping first 2 columns and then skipping the last 2 column, and then dashboard, so this would be the upload files, right? And here I'm going to remove this stuff, so just to make this empty, something like this, and yes, uploads files. Great, now I'm going to add a file chooser and a button here. So let's go back, and here I'm going to say input, right? Input, and this file should be type should be file, right? And I don't want to assign it a name, I want to assign it v model, but I'll do this in later on, right? So here I'm going to assign a class of form control because we are using bootstrap 5, right? So just go here and give it a here, so we now file chooser is visible, right? So here we can choose a file. Perfect. And if I go here to my blade file where I'm using this bootstrap 5 CSS CDN and then JS CDN, right? So we are using bootstrap 5, and after that I need a button here, right, to submit this on the server. So type would be submit, right? Submit, and the button name would be the submit to. So just to make this more styling, like btn primary. These are the bootstrap classes. Okay, it looks too big, I want to make it smaller, and btn sm, and I want to also add a space from the input and the button. So I want to say margin top would be 2. Save this one, and yes, we have a little space between input and the button. Perfect. So our upload file design is ready, and I'm going to upload the file. So here we need the logic that how we will upload the file. So first we need form to submit this through the form. So here I'm going to bind this into the form. So just add a form here, and then this form contain these both things. So give it a save to see there is anything changed. No, nothing. So after that we need the here a submit to the Vue.js, right? So I'm going to say, hey, submit this, and I want to also prevent this to do not refresh the web page. So submit on what? So I'm going to say upload file, right? So this one would be the method, so I'll create this in a minute. And then I want to get the value from this file, right? So I'm going to add a change here. So whenever our file is changed, I want to handle the file, so I can say handle file, something like this. Perfect. And this one is a button. Whenever I will click on this, so this form will be submitted. So now let's come here and build the backend build the JavaScript functionality. So here I'm going to say export default, right? Oh my god, what I'm doing wrong. Export default. My spelling are correct. Why it's appearing something like this? Oh, it's now resolved automatically. Okay, and here I need the variable of file which will catch the file from here, and then I'll pass this to this method, right? So first I'm going to define a data property, and then this data contain return object, and this contain a file, right? I created a variable to be file, and after that I need the methods, right? So in the methods I'm going to call this method which we created right now, handle file, right? So this will handle the file. So let's say handle file, right? And then this accept an event, right? So whenever we will change this, it will accept an event, and then this event contain our file. So let's say I want to get the file from this event, so I can get this using I'm going to alert this out here, right? So I can get this event and then target, right? And then after the target I can get this through this one. Let's go here files 0, something like this. So save this one and then dd this out. Here I'm going to say downloads, and I'm going to upload this out. So it's now says that object file, right? So whenever this will change, so it will impact it will be called. So just click on this Laravel tip, and yes, it says that we have a file object, right? So here we are successfully able to get the file. Let's first save this into the assign this to the top file variable, this dot file, this one, right? I'm going to assign this file, and then I'm going to assign this value which I'm getting it to from here, right? You can skip this semicolon, but sometime I'm the backend developer, so I want to add the comma to make myself responsible for adding the comma, because in the backend it's required. Anyway, so we pass this to this file, and now we need another method, right, which is this one, which will upload file to the server, right? So in this here I'm going to say upload file, right? Or we can make this plural to upload file, or just make this singular, right? We have only one file. I think here I made this singular too, right? Perfect. And I'm going to say whenever my form will be submitted, so it will submit this one, right? So let's say alert submitted, I can say something like this. So just go here, and whenever I will submit this file, so just go and click on the submit, so it says submitting, right? So here I want to append this into the form data, because I want to submit the file. So I need to set my headers here, right, which are multi-part and form data. So here I'm going to append them here. Okay, so before this I need to create a form data here, form data which will contain our form data. So by default it will be null, right? And here I came to this one, and I'm going to say this dot form data, right, equal to new form data, right? This is a JS native function. So submit the form data. So I want to now append my this file, right, to this form data, right? So I'm going to say this dot form data equal this dot form data, and then I'm going to call the append. I'm going to call the append, and then I want to append a file. So I need to pass a key of file, and then I need to pass the value. So what value I want to pass? I want to pass the file variable. So this dot file, right, which we are saving this to this file, right? Perfect. So we added this and we appended this file, right? And now our logic is inside this form data, and whenever I'll make request to the server, so I'll pass this form data, right? So now let's submit this. So I'm going to use axios to post the data, axios.post, and where I want to post, I want to post on API slash what's the route, so it would be the file slash upload, if I remember. So let me go to the api.file, and here I haven't created yet, right? So I'll create this in a minute. So I think I need to create it right now. So I'm going to say, hey, route get, and then this will be the file slash upload. We can say that plural uploads, and then here I'm going to do this through the file controller. So I think I haven't created yet. So let me go here. No, I haven't created yet. So let me create a split this terminal and create this php artisan make controller. Yeah, slash. Okay, so controller is created. I'm going to now pass this controller here, file controller, right? And I'm going to say method name would be upload file, and then I'm going to terminate this out here. So just go here, go to this controller and create this out. Here I'm returning the all things whatever I'm getting it from the client side. So I'm going to close this one. So here I'm going to say file slash uploads, and then I want to pass what I want to pass the form data. So just form data, and after that I want to pass my headers, right? So let's say headers, and what header I want to pass the content type. Oops. Content type, and the type would be multi-part form data, right? Multi-part slash form data, something like this, multi-part form data. So after that, whenever this endpoint will be hit, I want to call then, right? Then why it's suggesting me, I think I have installed a wrong extension. Before this I'm trying few ones. So I'm going to say, hey, response me here. So console.log response, and then similarly for the this would be the catch, not the error. This would be the error. And similarly I'm going to say console dot error. So just give it a save here, and I'm going to now try this out. So let's go here and let's move to this files and open the console too. Okay, and let's choose a file here. I'm going to choose this one and just click on this submit it, and we got one error, form data is not defined. Okay, fine. Form data is not defined. So here I need to call this dot form data, sorry, or we can use a constant to not call this everyone, right? Just click on this. I'm going to clear the console, submit this, and here we got this message 401 method not allowed. So what would be our URL? So our URL would be downloader/api/file/uploads, right? And here on the API side, files/uploads. I think path would be the API/upload. It's fine. Why it's throwing the error? API/files and method not allowed. Okay. So method would be if I go here to the API, here I pass upload files. So just go here and upload file. It would be the same. Why it's not allowing this one? So let me debug it in a minute. Okay. So just do it one more time here to test this again. Submit, and still we are getting this 405 not allowed. So it means that it's not submitting this our supported method. We are using here a get method. Just replace this with the post because we are submitting our form. And let's go to the files back again, choose a file, click on this submit, and yes, we are getting the file here, but this file is at that time its file is returning null, right? And here we got the 200 success code, right? Perfect. We are successfully able to submit the file, but we are not getting this here in this controller, right? So let's say I want to say file whatever. I'm passing this from the server side, so just submit this again. Yeah, I'm getting the file here, right? So this one is a temporary URL, so later on we can pass this to the get the name and type from there, and then we'll move this image to the server side. Perfect. So now let's save this into the database, and first we need to apply the validations that this file is required. If user is let's suppose user open this and then make this empty and submit this out, so this still submitting this and it's returning undefined. So we want to validate this, so just go back, and here we need the validation, right? So we can say, hey, request validate, and the validation I'm going to say file would be required, right? File would be required, and then you can also use other things like its file type, right? If you want to display the I want to upload only images, so just pass this PNG, JPG, and then whatever you want to accept. You want to accept the PDF, so you can pass this PDF, something like this, right? And just give it a save, and oops, I'm getting the error here. What would be the error? So error is, let's say, unexpected. I added the semicolon here, so I need to edit it here. Just save this one and do it one more time with the empty stuff. Go here, and yes, now this file must be type of this, and this one is required, right? So it's sending the empty form. So here we need to handle the error. So here I'm getting this error, and I want to now check that if I'm getting the validations error or these are the normal errors. So here I'm going to say if error dot response and then its status. So what its status is returning. So Laravel, when Laravel throw the validations error, it's return this 422 status code, right? So if you go here in the network tab, and you can see this here, uploads, it's 422 unprocessable content. Okay, so here I'm going to basically console.log, and I'm going to get all of the errors, right? I'm going to get the error, right? Error dot to response, right? And then in the response we have a data, and in the data we have those all errors, right? So let's save this one and go here to the console, click on the submit, and yes, we are getting the error, right? We have object and contain the array. So now I want to wrap this now into the and I want to create a object of values, and let's say click on this submit, and yes, now it's contain an array, right? So we converted an object to the array, right? So that's why we use this object dot values. And now I want to let's say in this case we have only one error, but if we got another error right after this validation error, so it will create another array, right? At this time array 1. So I want to flat this into the single array, right? So I'll use this dot flat method to convert the multiple arrays into the single array. So now let's give it a save and say, and yes, it's created this into the single array, right? Perfect. And now I want to display this here at the top. So first I need to pass this to a variable. So I need to create a variable errors, right? And I'm going to pass this as an empty array. And here I'm going to say you remove this console, right? Remove this console stuff, and here I want to say move this to the error. This dot errors equal whatever error I'm getting it here, right? This would be the errors, not the error, right? Because we have the plural stuff. And I want to say before this in the code, should I need to I think I need to display them here inside the code body. So I want to say div, and in the div I want to say unorder list, and this unorder list contain all of my errors. So I'm going to print all of the errors. So first I need to loop through this because we have an array. So I'm going to say that error in errors, right? As in the Laravel we have errors first and then single object, but in the Vue.js it's different. First we have error and then errors, all errors, right? And here I want to say in the list item I want to display the error, right? So what would be the error? So just save this one and let's submit this request, and I'm not getting any error, but here let's say which is reloaded file is required, right? So we are unable to print this error. I'm saying errors in errors, fine, right? And if I go here, is it appending to this error? This dot error, I made a typo here, it would be the errors, something like this, errors. Okay, save this one and submit this one more time, and yes, I'm getting this error. And now let me make this danger, right? Make this red to make this more visible to the user. So I'm going to assign a class of bootstrap text danger. So now it's highlighted in the red. So just submit this out, and yes, still it's red, right? And by the way, you can also clear those errors. So let's suppose at this time we got this error, but I'll do this whenever I'll face this issue, right? So I'll point you at that time. So here now I want to submit this file on the server. So just say submit, and yes, this file is now submitted on the server and we are getting the response. We are getting the response here, right? But before moving this, I want to, if this one is not throwing this validation error, so I want to say here in the else I want to say this dot errors equal something went wrong, please refresh the web page and try again, right? So I'm passing this into an array because we are in the errors we are using this for each loop to print the error. So here I pass this single index to this array, that whenever I'll not get this error 422, so I'll get this, and then this will be shown in the top here, right? So just submit this, we are getting this error, right? if is executing, so else is that will not be executed. So if I say different one, let's say submit, something went wrong, right? So just to roll back again, so here whenever my file is submitting on the server, so I'm getting this out here, right? And we can also move this logic into the separate files in the form classes, and I mostly prefer this, but this one is educational tutorial, so I don't want to do this. I want to focus on my original content, that I want to teach you that how you can build the downloader app. Perfect. So here I'm going to get the file object and then store this into the server. So first I'm going to check that, hey, if we have a request contain a file, right? Or we can also use has file, has file, and then we can check our file, and then we can push our other stuff. So if I want to store this into my project, so I can use this storage directory, right? This one, storage disk, to store our content inside this storage. You can also store this into the multiple disk, and if you want to create your own disk, so just go here, go to this config, and in the config we have a file system, right? So this file system contain a disk. First one is a local disk, which will store our things to this storage / app path, and then you have a public disk which will store this to this storage app / public, right? And then this one is Amazon bucket, and you can also create your own too. I'm going to use this local. By default to Laravel store method uses this one. So here I'm going to say let's say I want to say request to file, whatever I'm getting it, and then I want to call the store, right? And here this will now store our file. So store where I want to create inside let's say in the storage, I want to here create another folder, which is we can say uploads, and in the uploads I want to say files, right? Save this one, and now let's give it a try that we are getting this image here or not. Just choose this image, submit this out. Perfect, we got this response. And here let's say it wouldn't created any of the directory here. Yeah, it's created the directory inside the app, because I told you it's inside the app. We have uploads, and then in the uploads I'm getting this image. And by the way, I'm shooting this full course on the Fiverr, that how you can still use Fiverr to get the money from the Fiverr in the 2024. So you can check this out. Perfect, we are getting this image, and it's now assigning this to a random name, right? So it's help us to not to override the, let's suppose we have image which is already exist and we are uploading this same time, so both name would be same, right? So I don't want to override or assign this image one, right? So that's why I'm using this one. You can use other store as and other methods too. Perfect, we are successfully able to store this here, but the remaining stuff is we need to store this into the database, right? So we haven't created any table to store the files right here. So let's now create a new table and then model to store our files there. So let me open a new terminal here, and I'm going to create the migration and model for this one. So I want to create a file model, right? So let's make this PHP artisan make model file, right? And I want to also create a file migration. So just type -m and it will create the migration too. Hit enter, and yes, it's created. And now let's close this one, move this to the bottom, and let's say here close this one. And in the migration, let's say we have this create files migration, and here I'm going to store one foreign key, that who is creating this file, right? So let's get this table foreign ID, right? This one is the latest one in the Laravel 9 and 10. So here I'm going to say user ID who is uploading this, right? And I'm going to concentrate this on the users, so I don't need to define this because I am following the Laravel standards and conventions. And then I want to create another column which is name, right, where I want to store the image name with the path. So we can store this in the string, but you notice that we have a very long name, right? So sometimes it's more longer, so we don't want to lose any of the stuff, so that's why I'm going to use the text, right? So it's have the bigger size. So I'm going to say name, right? And after that I want to store how many downloads are there, right? So whenever someone download the files, I want to count the downloads. So let's say we can say that to integer, but I'm going to call this big integer, right? So it will store a lot of values. So let's say downloads, something like this, and by default it would be by default value would be 0, right? So it will be start from the 0. Perfect. So let me now seed them into my fillable property. So let's say file model, I'm going to quickly add them into the fillable protected fillable equal, and then perfect, we saved this into the fillable. Now let's go back, and here I'm going to also create a relationship here of the user, right? So let's say public function user, so later on we will use this. So return this, and now in this time we have stored this foreign key inside this one. So I'm going to call this belongs to user class, right? Something like this. So just close this one, and we have also created this. So let's go here, and I'm going to run this migration using PHP artisan migrate. Perfect, called. Let's exit this terminal, and now here I want to save this into my file. So let's say file, right, and then want to create this, and let's say name would be what, right? So I want to make this file, right? So I stored this here into the variable. So before this it was look like this, right? So when I'm testing this out, so I saved this into this variable, right? So now I'm calling this file, right, which we are storing this. So it will return me the path of the image, including the its path, like this, right? Perfect. And now I am storing the file name with path. Here I want to say user ID, right? So what would be the user ID? So I want to get the login user ID. So if I will say auth to check, right, if it's no, I don't want to check this, right? So I want to check this here if there is something went wrong, like our user is not logged in. I don't want to create this, right? Auth check, auth check, then I want to call this logic, right? So this will avoid from any of the exceptions. Where I'm going to get this directly ID, something like this. So let me add a space between them here, something like this, and we can also add them into the try catch block to submit it properly and get the proper exception. So I'm going to say, hey, just use this try catch block. So I can say that to try and then catch the exception if something went wrong. I'm going to get the native exception. I'm going to say return response, return response JSON, and then this response would be error or single error, and this would be the unable to upload the file due to this error, right? And what's the error? So error would be the exception, this exception, and I'm going to get the message from this exception, right? So this one, so this will now pass the JSON back, right? This will pass the JSON to this one, and here I want to, let me add a space between them. I want to say whenever our file is uploaded, I want to return the message to the return message back to the user. Return response, and then response what? I want to response the JSON back, right, with the same message key, right? Let's say file uploaded successfully, right? File uploaded successfully, something like this. And I want to also pass this 201, right? And in this case we can pass the 401 error, which is for the whenever we are getting this error. So 201 is a success response, and here in the response, whenever I'm getting this, I'll check this, that what's the error. So if response dot status equal 201, so it means that our file is uploaded successfully, right? So I want to throw a success message. So before this I want to save this into the variables where I have to say success message. This would be the empty, and here I'm going to say this dot success message. And what's the success message? So I want to get this from this response dot data dot message. This message is now what we are passing this from this server, right? I'm passing this to this success message, right? And after that I want to now show this success message. So just to go here at the top, after this error, I want to say I want to show a bootstrap alert, right? So I think I'm using this in the register one, so let me pull this from the register. So this one is a alert, class alert success, and role equal alert, right? So just to go here and create a div which contain a class of alert, right? So here I'm going to write my logic. So first I'm going to check that if this success is set, then I'm going to get the message. If there is a success message, right, so then print this message here, success message. Perfect. Save this one, and now let's give it a try. Clear everything, choose this file. No, I don't want to choose this, I want to choose this different 21. So submit it, and file uploaded successfully, right? So we also got this file uploaded successfully, and there is no error, right? These one are the old error, and we are now uploaded our file successfully. So let's take eye on this, and yes, this one is uploaded successfully, right? And now I want to upload another file, let's say 20. Just go here and click on this submit, and yes, our file is submitted. Here 20 is also submitted, right? But here I want to clear this message before submitting this, right? So whenever I'm submitting my I'm uploading the files, I want to clear the errors, right? So I want to create another method for this one. So let's say clear messages, right, or clear errors, something. No, I don't want to mention this error because I want to clear the success message and error message too. So I want to say this dot errors equal null, right, or an empty array, right, and then this dot success message equal null, right? So here I want to say, before uploading this one, I want to call this dot clear messages, something like this one, right? So I'm calling this one. So now let's say save this one, and this one is cleared. If I submit this out, this error is now appeared. If I submit this again, this one is disappeared and then appearing it again. Perfect. Now let's choose another file. I'm going to say that 18, submit this file, and yes, file uploaded successfully. Now let's give it one more time. Oops. Here I'm going to say, hey, 24, right? Submit this, and yes, we now seen this message hidden and then visible it again, right? Perfect. We are successfully able to submit our file on the server. After completing the uploads, I want to now move further to the downloads, that now user will log in and download the files. So here, whenever I'm saving this out, so let's take eye on this database. So here, this one is storing the foreign key and storing the full name with the path, right? And then storing its download. So by default, we set this to the 0 in the migrations. By default, it's setting it to 0. So whenever someone will download the files, we will make this increment, right? So here, now I'm going to create another page, Vue.js page, where I will show my downloads. So before this, I'm going to create our download page. So let's close everything here, and I'm going to create a new web page. So let's say, where is the router? So I'm going to now copy this stuff. Right now I can copy this because I told you earlier that how to write those things and how these works, right? And here I'm going to say, what would be the name of this one? I can say downloads, right? So this one, these would be also similar, and this would be similar with the download, and I need to create this download here. So let's clone this out. I don't want to swear time, so mark this as upload, right? So let me make this download, right? Download, and then here I'm going to say just create a download, right? So we already created this out, right? So just go here and make this downloads, or here I need to add a button here, right, for this one. So just close this one, go to this app.view, and here I want to say I want to first make this uploads, right? Because we can create another parent-child relation, that whenever someone click on this file, to show the message, show two options, download and uploads, but we don't have much options here, right? So I'm going to make them separate like this: uploads, or upload files, or we can say just upload file, and this would be for the uploads. And I'm going to clone this one more time for download files, and this would be now gone to this downloads. And here in the router, I think I set this singular, no, it's a plural, right? So just give it a save and click on this download, and yes, now this one is appeared. And if I go to this download, and I'm going to say downloads, save this one, and yes, downloads. Perfect. I'm going to remove this one, and here I'm going to I need a design of download. So here we need the design to download the files, right? So I'm going to go to the Bootstrap website, Bootstrap examples, right? Search this Bootstrap examples on the Google and click on this example first. So here there are a lot of examples, and I'm going to choose this very simpler one of canvas, and I picked this design, right? So how I get the design, because there is no download button, so I get this using this inspect element trick, right? So here you can copy this main, and it's contain all of these post sections, right? And then I customize this according to my need. Here I displayed the button, how many downloads, and then our download button, right? So let's close this one and close this out. I just to get this main and customize it according to my need. And here in the download I'm going to paste this out, and let me annotate it properly. So here let's set this main something like this, save this one, and let's go here. And yes, now at that time we have a download icon, how many downloads are there, and there is a download button, right? And further we can more here set the value to 8 and then offset 2 to skip first 2 column and after and last 2 columns, right? And now it's aligned in the 8 columns. Perfect. Now here I want to display the dynamic files. Like if I have 4 files in my database, so I want to display them out here, right? So these are the files, right? Okay, now let's first display how many downloads are there, right? I'm going to display the downloads, and then I'm going to download those files. So here I'll pass this my downloadable file ID. Perfect. So so I need to get the data from the server, right? So I'm going to now initiate a request on the server to get the downloadable file. So before this I need to create this. Just go to this not this app.js, go to this api.js, and here I'm going to create a new route for getting all the files. Okay, here I'm going to say files, and then controller would be the same file controller, right? And then method would be the, you can say that index or open or open files, right, like this. And then I'm going to call this in the controller. Let me define this here. Okay, public function and then open file, something like this, right? And then I'm going to say here I want to grab all the files, right? So if you want to grab the files, so you can use this all, something like this, oops, something like this. But at that time we have a relationship, a user relationship with this file, right? So I want to eager load this relation. So just type this with to eager load, and here I'm going to pass this like this, but I don't want to do this. I want to pass this as an array, right? So later on I can add multiple relations here, right? And here I'm going to call this get method, and then I'm going to store this into the files variable. And after that I'm going to return this, right? So return response, and let me make this response, and then this would be the JSON response. Okay, and then in the JSON I'm going to pass this files, and then you can also return the 200 code, or by default it's this will send the 200 response. So save this one, and now here we define this, and I'm going to now go here and write the script logic to hit this endpoint whenever my component is mounted. So just go ahead and create this script, and in this script I'm going to say export default, and after that I'm going to create a data property, and let's contain a return object, and here I'm going to create the files array, empty array, right? So I'll get those files in a minute from the API, right? Let me add space, something like this, so it will be more visible. Okay, so here I'm going to define a method where I'll send my call, right? So I'm going to say methods property, and in the methods I'm going to say get files, or we can say fetch files, right? Get files. So let me turn off. Okay, it's Ramazan, so it's a Quran reminder that I need to reset the Quran, and I'm also following Quran with the translation. Okay, anyway, let's come to our topic. Our topic is here I'm going to get those files, right? So just I define this get files, and I'm going to send the Axios request on the server. So just type axios.get, and I'm going to send the request on the API slash files, something like this, API slash files, and then I'm not going to touch anything else. So here I'm going to say get the response from there, response, right? And then log this response, or I'm going to directly append this to the file, right? Whatever the response I'm getting this, I want to append this to this files, right? So basically I'm assigning this to the files array, and if I'm getting any error, so catch those error, right? Error, and the error would be pretty much identical stuff as then error. Okay, and whenever it will hit this, so it will get the response, right, and save this into this file. So here how I can call this, so I can say that whenever my component is mounted, right, and to get this mounted hook, whenever my component is mounted, I want to call this method, right? So this dot get files, something like this. So whenever our component is mounted, right, so this will be called. So now let's save this one. Let me open the console here first. Okay, and here I'm going to say save, and let's say take eye on this, and nothing is happened. Let me go to this downloads on network files, and if I go to this response, and yes, I'm getting those files from here, right? I'm getting all the files, perfect. And now I want to call, I'm basically appending this to the files, and now I want to loop through these files, right? So here let me check that it's body rounded, so I need to clone this. So let me try this, that I need to copy the above div or not, or yeah, looks fine, but maybe I can copy this whole something. Yeah, looks much good, right? So just go back, roll back again. So here we have this this overall design which we want to loop through. So just to go here in this div, and I'm going to call the for loop in the Vue.js. So just bind this in for, and type of file in files, right? So in the Laravel we use first array and then its object, right? But in Vue it's different, first getting the object and then calling the array, right? And here I'm going to also add the key attribute, right, to make this unique. So I'm going to say file.id. Okay, so just give it a save without changing anything, and yes, it's now displaying us many files, 3 4 5 6 7, right? So we have in the database we have 7 files, perfect. And now I want to display their downloads, how many downloads are there. So just open this out, and I want to say get the download file.downloads, something like this. And yes, every each file contain the 0 download, right? And now I want to implement the functionality. When someone click on this download, so it will increment this download and download the file into our computer, right? So how we can do this? So just go to this download button. So here I'm going to also assign this first to text white, because it's text is black, now it looks much cleaner, and yes, now it looks cleaner. And here I want to handle click event, right? I want to say click handle, or we can say download file, right? And I want to pass the parameter, right? Parameter of what I want to pass the file id, right? File.id, something like this. And now I need to define this method here. So just go here and let's say download download file, and then it's accepting the file ID, whatever the parameter you will set this. And here I'm going to now basically get this file ID. So let me alert this file ID first to make sure that we are getting the proper ID. Just click on this, and yes, getting the two, and everything is perfectly working, right? So we are successfully able to get the file ID. Now I want to send the request on the server that I want to download this file, right? So for this I need the route where I will send my request. So first build the route. I'm going to copy this and then paste this. So this would be identical, but here I'm going to say post, right? And here I'm going to say store files, store file. I'll make it plural, similar like this. So here I'm going to say, oops, I'm going to no, I'm not going to store file, I'm going to download the file. So let's say download file, something like this. And here I'm going to also say downloads, right? And then after that I'm going to pass the ID, right? Whatever the ID, I will get this, will get this in the controller. So just go to this controller and here say public function file. Here I'm going to get this file, right? And then here I'm going to perform the operation, right? So I'm going to get this ID. So I'm going to return this request to, and then ID, something like this. And then now I'll first here add the request, right? Request. And then now I am returning the request ID, but I don't want to return the request ID, right? I want to just return this simple ID, which I am getting this from the parameter. Okay, save this one, and now let's implement the logic on the server side. And this would be also the get method, not the post, right? We are just getting the request. Here go back, and I'm going to call this endpoint now, right? So let's say here axios.get, right? And then let's say API slash downloads slash ID of the download. And in this case we have the ID of file ID, right? Something like this. And for the downloads we need to set the response, right? We are getting the image, so we need to set its blob type. So I'll do that later on. So let me first type the then response. I'm going to say response, and this should be identical stuff, console.log response. And then I'm going to say, hey, catch the error, whatever the error it is, and then print those errors, something like this, error, right? Okay, so whenever I'll send this request, it will return the ID back to us, right? So let's click on this downloads, click on this, and here we are getting this 200 response data contain this. So meta, let's go here, 2 is not returning the exact response, right? So we need to return the response in the JSON format. So let's go here, and I'm going to say return response, and then I'm going to say JSON, and the JSON I'm going to pass this, or I can say that ID, and whatever the ID it is. Save this one, and now let's click on this, and I'm getting the downloads. Let's call it again one more time, but still I'm getting this Vue.js stuff. Why? Let me open this data, and in the data I'm getting this 200 response, right? And let's go to our download view. Here I'm going to this API slash download. So let me verify the URL. APIs, my god, I say file slash download, right? So it should be the API slash files slash downloads and then downloading the ID. So let's click on this, and here I'm getting this response, and yes, I'm getting this ID from here, and in the network tab I'll also get this same ID, right? Perfect. Just clear this out, and now I'm passing this ID and I need to search this file on the server side, right? And then I need to download this on the Vue.js side too, right? So we need to do this on the both sides. So before this, I'm going to move to this server side. I'm going to search this ID, search this file, and then I'm going to get the download the file and then pass this through the Vue.js. So first thing is you need to find the file, right? So just say file, right, find, and then find it with the ID, right, and then just save this into the variable. So let's say if we will not found the ID, so I want to say return response not found, something like this, right? So every time it's good practice to first catch the error and then return the response, so you can catch the errors early, right, without responding anything to the client. So here I'm going to say error, right, and let's say unable to find the file. Please refresh web page and try again. If still problem persists, you can contact with administrator, right? So this is more descriptive error, right, rather than a typical one. We are here giving the three message. First we are telling that we are unable to find the file, and then we are telling that if this is thrown, right, so what you should need to do. So refresh the web page, maybe it would be resolved, right? And if it still isn't resolved, so you can contact the administrator, right? After finding the files in the database, we need to check that is it exist in our application, like this image exists in our application. So for this we can use this, but before this I'm going to save this into a variable file with the path, right? So I'm going to get the file name, right? So this file name contain the file path too, right? So if I go here and just show you upload slash files, right, so it's contain the path and file name. And now I want to check that if this exists in our Laravel application or not, right? So here we are in the storage, we have these files. So I'm going to first check that if not storage, right, I'm going to check this from the storage exist method, right, and I'm going to pass this file with path, right, something like this. And here I'm going to say if it's not found, I want to throw an error that file is not found. I'm going to copy this, and with this not able to find the file not found, I'm going to just write this, right, so you can customize this according to your own one. Here I'm going to say 404, and here you can also throw the 404, right? And after that, if this isn't found, it will throw the 404, and then if it's found, then what we want to do. So I want to download this file, so just say return storage download, right? So just call this so download, and download what I want to call this file with path, something like this, right? So give it a save, and now I'm going to test this on the server and make sure that if I'll click on this download, so it will download this on the server side, but in the Vue.js we need to still download this file, right? In the Laravel blades we need to do this with the server side only, but Vue.js we need to do this on the both end. So just click on this download, and you will see this in the network tab. So just click on this, it says call to undefined method league file system download. Sorry, I did a typo mistake here, download, right? Save this one. Oh my god, download. Okay, fine. Just click on this download one more time, and yes, we are successfully able to view our image. If I click on this last one, so just go here, and yes, I'm able to see my image, right? So it means that our file is downloading from the server end, and we need to now complete this process from the our client side, right? So here we need to also set its parameter, response type, and then stuff to download the image. So it's a little bit complex. So I'm going to paste this logic and then explain you how it's working. Okay, I pasted this stuff, right? What I did this here, whenever I'm getting the response, I set this response type, right? Whenever I'm sending the response, I set this response type to blob, right? So this is a image type, right, where we can, in the previous is we can store those images using these blob in the database too, but at the newer base we are storing this like this, not storing directly in the database. But here we are setting this type blob to creating the image. So here I pasted this code, right, and this chunk of code. What it's doing is basically we are getting blob from the data what we are getting this. So we are getting this here file with path, right? Whatever the file is loaded here in the network tab, right? So we are passing this to the Vue.js here through this response.data, and then we are creating the element, creating the object URL, and then here we are getting the unique name using this method. This is a separate method. I added this, so here I'm getting this from the time and then converting this and then assigning a name with the .png format. So we can get this extension directly from the server what is the MIME type of this file is, but at the administration time I'm shooting this for the educational purposes, so I just added this PNG directly here. I mostly use PNG, but you can get this from the server. Okay, so this will return the unique name with the downloadable files underscore time digit and digits, and then its extension, right? So here I'm appending this to this download, and then appending this to the body, and then clicking on this, so this will be downloaded, and then unlinking this again, right? So this will download the image. So just give it a try here. Let's remove everything. I'm closing this out, so just click on this download, and yes, the image is downloaded, right? So just to open this out here, and yes, our image is working fine. So just go here and click on this 6 image, and in the 6 we uploaded oh my god, my IDM is getting the problem. Let me close this one. We have a PDF file, so we are not handling this PDF file, but still it can download this. Just go here and open this out, and yes, it's downloading my image too. So I click on this download this PDF, so it's also downloading the PDF, but I removed this PDF, so I'm not downloading this PDF anymore here. Because I want to just stick this to the only images, right? For this you can add the separate logic how to download the PDF. Still it's downloading, but it's not the good one to specify its data type, right? So we'll also store them in the whenever we are downloading them, we can send the separate request, or if we are sending in on the same end, so here we can differentiate that if the MIME type is application slash PDF, so then we want to download the PDF or want to download the image. Okay, perfect. I think we are successfully able to download those images, and they are working fine. Every time we are getting the unique image name, right? Perfect. So in this way you can download a lot of images, right, whatever you want. And then we need to do one more thing, right? What we need to do here is we need to download those images, right? We are downloading those images, but we are not updating this download, so let's also work on that. Let's go here, and whenever it says checking that this file exists, right? After that it says it exists, so I want to update the file object, right? So we have the file object and I want to say update, right? Update, and then here I'm going to say downloads plus 1, right? So every time whenever our method will reach to this state, so I want to set this 1, save this one, and now I'm going to click on this first one. So just click on this to download, and yes, it's downloaded. So let's check that is this get the one, get refresh, and no, it's not getting the one. So let me, I think I need to fill the fillable downloads. No, I'm doing this, so let me make sure the column name downloads downloads, right? Spelling are also fine. So here I define this file. We have the file object. I'm updating this download. It's correct. Why it's doing this? So let me dd this out and I'm going to check this out. So just go here, I copied this from here, generate this using AI, right? So you can also give this command to generate this. Okay, I'll also share the whole project source code on the GitHub. My GitHub is github/hadiniazi, so I will share this on this GitHub repository, so you can watch the last video where I'll implement this out. Anyway, whenever I'm clicking on this download, what's happening here is it's downloading the image directly, right? So it's not reading this out here. Let me comment this out and I'm going to say click on this download, say, and yes, now I'm getting this out. And if I say yes, download this, but before this I want to make its count updated, so just click on this download. It's downloaded, but still it's not updating the, yeah, it's updated this one, right? Download is 1, right? If I go and click on this here and let's say, and yes, updating this out here too, right? But we want to reinitiate, we need to re-render this again to load the data again, right? So here just close this one, and in the Vue.js, whenever we are downloading the files, right, I want to re-render my files again, right? So I'm getting these files, so here whenever this one we got the response, so I want to update this thing, right? So how I can do this, so paste it here, and let's say now I want to click on this download, and yes, it's instantly updated this download, right? So just click on this one more time and it's updating this 1 every time, right? So I don't want to do this 1, right? So just go here, the file controller, I want to get its download and then +1, right? So file downloads, right? File downloads, and then I want to plus this with the 1, right? I don't want to add every time 1, or I can directly say here plus something like this. So just go here and click on this one more time, and no, it's not doing this. So just go here, still doing that 1. Maybe it's plus isn't working on the object, so just say something like remove this column, just click on this download, and yes, now at that time it's now doing this too. Just click on this one more time, and yes, pointing the 3. Just click on this download. This one is a PDF file, so just click on this image file, and yes, making this 1, right? So this one is also now made 1. So go here, click on this and 2, and just click on this one more time and 3, right? So in this way we are updating our count and then downloading our files in the system. So let me know, let me check that if is anything else is remaining, right? So then I'll do this, and then we will also see this output on the mobile app too. So here we need to also update our other stuff, that our app name and so on things. I'll do this. Okay guys, so I have seen that how we can basically open our application on the mobile app, but we are able to, we can open the Laravel application on the mobile app using this network tab, and we can you can just type ipconfig and then enter this your IPv4, right, and then slash enter your app name. So this will open your Laravel apps, but it's not rendering the Vue.js app. Even I tried this npx start 2, but it's only displaying the Laravel files, right, not displaying the overall stuff. Not the start, it would be the serve. Oh, I'm in the wrong directory. So basically the main point is that you need to first here we need to complete the application and then deploy it on the server. So this one is a application where we want to display our app name. So just go here, close everything, go to this app dot to yes, and here I want to say my client is messaging me. So here I can say downloader app something, and it should be a little bit more smaller, small tag, right, something like this. Yeah, downloader app still looks big, but anyway, fine. So here we can upload the file, download the files, dashboard, and if I go and click on this logouts, we can successfully able to log out. We can log in, we can register our user, and so on things. Upload the files, we can choose a random file, so it will throw that this file must be these types. And we can also remove this PDF too, this one is a file controller, and here I'm going to do here request file, and as I told you that I'll move this logic into the request. So just create the form request. So make this php artisan make a request, okay, API slash what's the name, so v1, and the v1 I want to say file request, right, let's say file no, not do this, let me go to the file request, right. So let's go to the file request here. So this one comes with the two method. First one is authorize, so we need to make this true to authorize, and then here we need to, as similar, we pass this attribute and values. We need to do this same. So I'm going to remove this stuff and paste it here, right. So it will behave as same, and then we need to call this something like this file request, and yes, its namespace is added at the top, this one. And if I go back, and I can still able to validate this, right, perfect. And here just remove this, clean up it a bit more, and everything looks fine, right. We are downloading the files, uploading the files, and let me download my stuff from here. I don't want to upload those stuff here. Let me delete these files tree, and it will be created when we will upload a newer file. So let me upload a new file about this Laravel and Vuejs Vue app. So just submit this out, and yes, it's uploaded successfully. Let's go through the downloads, and this one is our last one, so let's give it a try here. And yes, this one is the thing, and this is the way how you can build this downloader app. And now I'll move this overall stuff to the server side. So before this, you need to compile those files, right. So let me close this one, and here our this npm run serve is working. So just close close this out, and here you need to run npm run build, right? What it will does, basically it's going to compile our all of the files and then paste them into our public directory in public/build directory, right? So it's compiled those files and edit them here. So whenever we will deploy our website on the server, so we don't need to run npm run dev every time, right? So it's now compiled and saved this into the application. So this is why we use npm run dev and npm run build. Okay, perfect. Now it's working fine. Let's close this one. I'm going to basically deploy this on my server. So what's my application? This is our downloader app, and here I'm going to create the git repository, empty, initializing empty repositories. Let me make it bigger for you. Just say git init, so it will create the empty repository. Sorry guys. Okay, and then here I'm going to say git add, right? And then I'm going to say git commit -m, and then I'm going to say downloader app completed till last video, right? Fresh, and yes, downloader app Vuejs Laravel. Perfect, it's deployed, and now you can pull this, right? So my client is also waiting for me. So if you all like the series, share your feedback about the course, and also share your opinions that what you want to learn in the next series. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching the video. Bye bye.